What's up YouTube, it's your boy, the Mediocre Moose, here today with an episode of Silver Strats for you. Alright guys, today I'm going to be covering a default T-side setup that everyone should know, and it's really important to, set up as a default on T-side so that you can feel out, get information about where the CTs are, and then you can make an informed decision on which bomb site to take. Alright guys, so the default setup when you're on T-side is going to be the following. Right, you're going to have one player positioned outside of long. You're going to have one player who works his way up to cat. You're going to have one player watching mid and getting information and counting how many CTs cross over to B. You're going to have another player playing lower tons, and you're going to have a player holding upper tons. Okay, so now let's cover each of these positions in more detail. Okay, so position number one, the long player, right? The job of the long player is to prevent a counter-terrorist push through long doors, okay? Now, the long player, his job is to basically gather information as far as how many players are playing long. Alright, so default setup on any map is all about being patient, right? You're basically banking on the counter-terrorist getting impatient and pushing you from one of the different entry points, okay? So the long player's job is to hold off any sort of A-long aggression, okay? And there's a couple places they can hold to do that. They can hold from over here from car, right? They could even hold, behind the door over here. You could hold, over here. They could even, I don't recommend it initially at the beginning of the round. They can hold in here and try to listen to hear, okay, did anyone cross into pit? Is anyone, playing, long corner, right? This player can even, if they're confident, take a quick peek to see if anyone's holding long corner. And basically, this player's job is to prevent the A-long flank. Alright, so as the player one position, as the round goes on, if you don't think there's anyone outside of long, you can slowly start, working your way out of long, check your spots, and basically gain additional map control and gain additional information about where the CTs are. Alright, so player number two's job, his job is to get up to cat, right? Playing the default on terror side Dust 2, it's all about map control, right? You basically want to prevent yourself from getting flanked from any of the positions, and you want to gain as much information as possible, okay? So player number two, his position is going to be taking position up on cat and basically taking a look at each site, trying to get information as far as like how many people are over there. In order for him to safely get onto cat, he's going to need to throw the Xbox smoke. In order for him to do that, all he has to do is get on top of this little brick over here, line his crosshair up with the center of basically the top of this little circular brick patch right here. Right, so once he lines up right there, he's going to take a look at this little antenna over here, pull your smoke out. Alright, so what you'll notice is I just toggled on my larger crosshair. This is something I commonly do when I'm throwing smokes. You don't necessarily need it to throw this smoke, but for certain smokes it could help you. Alright, in case you're curious how to do that, I'll put a link to my other video where I talk about how to set up this this toggle button on your keyboard to get this larger crosshair. So to throw this smoke, all this guy has to do is line up on top, like I had mentioned, right here on top of this little brick circular portion here. Get dead center of that guy, aim for the dead center of this antenna tip, and then let it rip, right? And that should land exactly on Xbox, okay? Alright, so once that smoke is up on Xbox, this guy can, work his way, onto cat, and he should do so, carefully, because there's probably a CT playing cat. You want to make sure that if you're the cat guy, that you're clearing out your angles, you're exposing as little of your body as possible as you clear it out. And basically you just want to get up here and gather information, right? So from here, you can hear a couple of things. You can hear if anyone is in CT spawn, if they're running back and forth. You can hear the guys long if they're running. And also, you can also start working your way and peeking onto a site to see, how many people are there. Now, you don't want to get yourself killed, right? But you want to gather information, right? So you want to listen to things and you want to peek out to see if you can spot, some counter-terrorists. Don't engage in full firefights, but just try to figure out where these CTs are. Alright, so player number 3, his job is to hold from T spawn and basically count how many CTs cross onto B site, right? This is typically going to be your opper. Okay, I don't have enough money, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart my server. And what that's going to do is it executes a config file that I have. If you haven't already seen that video on how to set up your offline server properly for practicing, I'll put a link to that video as well. Okay, so player number 3, his job is to watch the cross, right? Once the round begins, this player should have a scoped weapon, preferably, and they should be watching to count how many players cross onto B site. If the counter-terrorists are smart, they're going to throw a smoke mid so that this person cannot gather information. If that happens, that's okay. This person's job is still going to be to watch down mid, right? And this is important because eventually that smoke's going to clear, right? So you need someone holding, mid and watching the mid doors. But you also need this guy to basically watch out for lower tons, because what CTs like to do sometimes is they like to be aggressive and push through doors and head lower tons. Now, the guy playing this scoped position number 3, his job is to give an early warning to the guy inside lower tons that, hey, be careful, there's a CT pushing you, okay? This job is very important. This is typically a job for your team offer. All right, so player number 4, his job is to take position in lower tons. He's gonna come down to lower tons at the start of the round. The Xbox position should be smoked off if player number 2 is smoking it correctly. And basically this person is just gonna, play lower tons, make sure, no one pushes through double doors and into lower tons. So you're basically just gonna hold this position, and also you're gonna be listening on the other side of this wall to hear if there's any players watching or playing mid, running back and forth between bomb site B. All right. Remember, playing the default is a patient strategy, right? You're not going to make a decision to hit either bomb site until much later into the round. This is just to get general map control and to gather information, okay? So player number 4, you're playing lower tons, you're holding off any sort of lower tons push, right? And you can also support your guy who's going to go up cat, right? If the guy who's going up cat thinks there's a guy there, you could flash for him, and you're a support player. And you're also going to be one of the key people who will rotate quickly once a strat is called later into the round. Position number 5 is going to be the guy who's going to hold upper B. Okay, so the guy who holds upper B, I do not recommend exposing yourself to the guys in B site. It's just too easy to get picked off from this position. Instead, what I would much rather you do is basically just wait for an upper B tons push. The guy who's playing position 5, the guy who's playing upper tons, you're just waiting to punish the CTs if they decide to be aggressive and push into upper tons. Okay, so a couple places you can hold from. You can hold from here. You can hold from stairs, right? You can hold, you can hold close, right? But all you're doing is, your job is to, number 1, figure out how many players are on B site by listening, by watching how many smokes and mollies get thrown into this little entranceway, and you're gonna gather intel for the team. All right, so as position number 4, if you do decide that based on the information you have, based on the picks that were gained early in the round, maybe you want to go to cat, right? So you gotta safely smoke yourself, smoke doors to actually get onto cat, right? Or let's say if you're player number 2 and you're holding cat and you see, okay, 2 guys on A site, the long guy has seen 1 guy in pit, and your mid player, your player number 3 sees 1 guy mid. That means there's only 1 guy on B site, so you should do a quick B rush, right? This guy cross through lower tons and you basically hit B hard, right? All right, guys, hope this video was helpful. Setting up with a terrorist side default is pretty typical, and it's a strategy that all people should know. It's going to set you up for success as long as each position player holds their position correctly, they're not too aggressive, and you play it with the mindset that I'm going to be patient, I'm going to punish the CTs if they push, and my job is to gather information. The more information you have, the better, you can make a decision late into the round on which site to take. Alright guys, hope this video was helpful. Make sure you smash that like button, comment below of what strategies you want to see in the future, and if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Until next time, get out there and stay average.